Hi, I'm Lisa Barri.
Thank you.
There is massive fraud going on, massive secrecy, and a disregard for the law. And the reason I know this is because I was an affidavit, at the affidavit count to observe. I was sent by a delegate, I was certified. I'm going to ask that the Board of Elections, as with all people in government, be held to the same laws that you all are asking every citizen of this country to adhere to. The law for observing is Election Law 9209. I should have been able to see everything. I should have been able to go into every room. The Board of Elections in New York City knew this because I saw a letter from them to both campaigns about this, citing the law I just mentioned. And further, there's the law 8-500 that also talks about an observer being allowed in completely, particularly if you're certified and a representative sent you, a delegate in my case. Not only that, according to these laws, I had the right to object to any disregard or any vote being thrown out I could have objected to, 1 or 100,000. I had that right. This is not what happened. What happened was rather a nightmare. I was forbidden to stand. I was forbidden to sit any closer than 2 feet from any workstation. Everything in their power that they can do, the bottom line is, they wanted me to see nothing. I was told this was the law. That was a lie. This is the government lying about the law. And I could just tell you in my experience, I've had lawyers who take vows of oaths to uphold the law, lie about laws to me, affecting my life. It's not okay. It's not okay. It got so bad that, although it's a small room, we're talking about the Varick Street office, small room, nothing was roped off, or everything looked the same, but I wouldn't adhere to what they were asking me to do unless they could show me the law, because I knew my rights. They said they would, they never showed me the law, because there was no law of what they were saying. At one point I was on one part of the room, I was never told not to be there. I was threatened twice by the clerk. The security guard was summoned. I mean, do I look threatening? The security guard actually held his arms out when I tried to go past him and said, "You're not going anywhere." What? Also, some observations in the room. I saw piles of ballots, rubber band with notes on them that they weren't read by the machine, and they were like thrown in a corner. What? I heard one person working on the ballots ask his supervisor, I didn't hear the whole thing, but I heard, "How are we to do it when we have to change the numbers?" This was a guy with a ballot, with ballots. What? And somebody's going to tell me there isn't fraud going on? Probably the most important thing was I was told early on by the head clerk that only 1/3 of all the affidavit ballots were being counted. I said, why? He said, they're the only ones verified. I said, how do you tell me the process of how you're verifying? Silence, wouldn't tell me. On top of that, there was a whole room that this was going on in. The observers call it the purging room. And it was going on in every single location in every borough. And none of us, we were forbidden entry into this room. The law says I can go in there. And the law says that I could have said, no, I object to you throwing this ballot out, there's no basis for it. So much secrecy, a security guard had to come up, and the next day when I went, I was literally blacklisted. They tried to prevent me from going in at all. What got me in the first day, my certificate, wouldn't get me in the second day. Then I was told I had to have something else, which I didn't have at the time. But I got on the phone, I made a call, I ran downstairs, I went to a, print place. It took me over an hour to do this. While they were doing something that they didn't want me to see in the room, they kept me out. Because of me, on the second day, the room was roped off with a security guard present. Even though I was told with the original certificate that let me in the first day, I can't come in because the date, something, whatever, and I need this other thing, but if I want, I could stay in the public area, which is behind this new rope, but as a delegate representative, I can go further with the other thing. When I got the other thing, I still wasn't allowed through. And in between that, another gentleman came out with this when I got the second certificate, and he said, oh, well, that's a problem too, because your delegate only represents this territory, and we've already done that. I said, no, that's not the law. Everything was a lie, a misrepresentation of the law. And I'm not just telling you this story because, I got horrible treatment, which I did, and it needs to be noted. But this is like a metaphor for what's going on, not only in the city. I spoke to face-to-face with the lawyers who's got the lawsuit going on about this primary and this voter suppression going on massively. It's bad in the city, but what you don't hear is that it's equally bad in the entire state of New York. Albany's had massive voter suppression, and I don't know if this is exact, but I think he said 3 million people in the state. I'm not talking independents now. I'm talking about longtime Democrats, lifetime Democrats, who all of a sudden their party was changed, they were taken off. 3 million long-time, lifetime committed Democrats. I'm going to leave you with two things. Number one, following other states, New York has got to decertify this primary and must take a revote.